Today on the To Be the Church podcast, money back guarantees on your tithes. Biblical? We're going to discuss. Hello and welcome to the To Be the Church podcast, where we discuss what it means to truly be the church in today's culture. Today with me, I have a distinguished member of our elder team, also known as the executive pastor of operations for Northwest Gospel Church, Nathan Noorlun.
Hey.
Back by popular demand.
Popular demand. You threw out distinguished. Wow, you're like...
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I got to bring it out there, but...
Yeah, you know, I feel like you're pretty distinguished. What's your hat? Explain that to us here. It says Rogue, Dare, Risk, Dream. You were thinking about asking the interns before we started here if you should go backwards or not, and you decided to go forward. So
I'm going forward.
You're repping Rogue
I'm repping Rogue Brewery in Newport, Oregon.
Nice.
We went to the Oregon coast. We went to visit the Oregon Aquarium. Didn't realize the brewery's right next door, so popped in, bought a hat.
Nice, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Dare, Risk, Dream. I like that mantra, though. I like the...
Yeah. With Rogue, I thought it might be the next Mission Impossible, like Mission Impossible 9 or 10 or something, you know? Rogue Brewery. So apparently not. But dude, all right. So today we've got a topic that is right up your alley as the so you've been on a podcast a bunch of times, but people know you're the executive pastor of operations, and so the scope of that portfolio, your job within the ranks here includes what?
Includes finance. So
Money.
All things budgeting, all things accounting, all things HR, all things interior systems, planning, strategic planning, thinking through long-term strategy, mergers, acquisitions, property, legal, risk management, insurance, all those kinds of administrative, the business aspect of our church.
Yeah.
All those details in and out. So
Buildings,
buildings,
Bucks.
facility, toilets and toilet paper and all the
pastor of toilets.
Yeah, pastor
Excellent.
of toilets.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, and you run a big part of the staff, all the administrative staff reports
All the
to you?
administrative staff, all the admins, the admin assistant, Heidi at the front desk, all those people, Cynthia and the accounting department, all of those report to me. So yeah, try to keep the operations running as smooth as possible and try to remove all those operational headaches out of the ministry team so they can, I think of the phrase greasing the skids.
Yeah.
So if we can get underneath the skids, grease them, remove obstacles, they can move along smoothly and quickly as possible in accomplishing the mission. So we try to do our best behind the scenes.
You're so good at what you do.
Well, thanks.
You are, dude. You're unreal at what you do. And I think like it makes everybody's job so much easier, you know, all the stuff you do. And I think you do a bunch of stuff that like, I don't want to do, and no one else.
I'm happy to take
and
that.
And you love it, though.
Yeah, I do.
That's
I
the
love
crazy
it.
thing is it's like you stinking love this stuff, and that's, you know, so it's like you're in your gifting, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's the pinch me reality kind of thing. Like I actually get paid to do this. I get to do this every day. I wake up in the morning and my brain's already moving on stuff I want to get done for the day. So it's quite the blessing. It's
killer. All right, so we got an article today from a publication that I usually read only as a parody, but they broken clock twice, right twice a day type of idea here, potentially, although I don't want to give away, I guess I just did, my thoughts on some of the stuff. But Relevant Magazine, which again is not The Onion, but kind of is, because most of their takes are just not great on things. Really sort of... has gotten worse and worse over the years. I haven't seen a relevant article in many years that I wasn't like, oh, give me a break. But this one is interesting. Came out June 30th, 2023, and I thought you'd be a great one to speak to this, Nathan. The headline, okay, June 30th, 2023, headline: the largest church in America offers a money get back guarantee on tithes, okay? And so here's the article. Life Church, the largest church in America led by Pastor Craig Groeschel, is encouraging individuals to participate in a tithing challenge that promises a 100% money-back guarantee if you, quote, don't see God's blessings in your life, unquote. The Edmond, Oklahoma-based congregation instituted the 3-month tithing challenge back in 2007, recognizing that the prospect of giving away 10% of one's incomes can be frightening. For first-timers, Life Church encourages members to tithe for 3 months and look for signs of God's faithfulness. And then it, kind of gives some quotes, little Malachi 3:10 action, etc. To ensure the integrity of the challenge, Life.Church has established specific guidelines. Participants must not have tithed in the past 6 months and must complete a registration form before commencing their tithing journey. Furthermore, if individuals wish to request a refund, they must do so within 30 days of completing the 3-month period. That makes sense. The inspiration for the money back guarantee comes from Malachi 3:10 and 11, which commands a tithe and promises blessings to those who give faithfully.
Yeah, that's not the inspiration for the money back guarantee. Sorry.
According to recent studies, only a small percent of church attendees regularly tithe, typically between 10 to 25% of a church's population. A very interesting data point. The vast majority of members in an average congregation do not tithe on a regular basis. So that's the article. I guess that's actually a good fair bit of reporting there. They don't editorialize at all. And so maybe I should renew my subscription to Relevant. Just kidding. Yeah, dude. Anyway, there it is. Money back guarantee. Would we ever do this at Northwest Gospel Church, Nathan?
No, we wouldn't.
We wouldn't.
That was a great podcast. Come back in next week.
What are your initial thoughts on this action?
I'll
many
say
directions you could go.
So many ways. So let's try our best to go on the positive. God is faithful. But I don't think we have to tie the experience of God's faithfulness to a pledge of giving. You know what I mean? Like I'm nervous at the concept of constricting the concept of God's faithfulness and seeing God's blessing in your life to whether or not I tithe.
Okay.
Now, I have seen, and I've actually heard there's a pastor, a church I was a part of years back when I first, my very first role actually, business administrator of a local church here in town. My very first job out of Clark College.
Boom.
Guy got divorced, going through this ugly, ugly divorce. His wife took everything and left him with very, very little. He was meeting with a pastor. And the only reason I know about this conversation is because the walls were as thin as paper and I was in the office next door, so I could hear everything in the conversation. And he said, "Are you tithing? Are you giving?" And he said, "No, I can't afford to." And the pastor said, "You can't afford not to. And I want to challenge you to give." He didn't throw in the 100% guarantee, but he says, "I want to challenge you to give even in these hard times. And you'll see God's faithfulness." Months later, there was a Sunday night, kind of one of those like classic Sunday night, like testimony sharing times or whatever. And he came up and he got the microphone and said, "I don't get it. This doesn't pencil out, but I've been doing this faithfully since I've been told to, and I've just seen God meet my needs."
Oh, wow.
And sure, I've seen that. And this guy just like, "I can't believe this." I've seen it over and over again. People have said, "Man, I have this need. God just miraculously provided,"
Yeah.
So yes, God proves himself faithful, but I'm afraid of the tone in this.
Okay.
Like 100% money back guarantee, like how much of corporate America this is like a commercial for like a really bad used car lot or something. like 100% money back guarantee if you don't see God's blessings. And then what are God's blessings? What are you looking for? What determines what that blessing is? Who's going to decide, "Nope, sorry, that wasn't the metric of God's blessing, so we're not going to refund you your money."
Yeah.
Or, so
I would
that's
guess at a church like Life.Church, I would guess that they would honor the full money back guarantee for anybody who asked it, because it's like they got the money to do that,
Absolutely.
And I like how in their policy they said within 30 days of your 3 months, so they know the month fiscally speaking in their budget that's going to hit, and then so they start the 3-month challenge. 3 months go on. And then it ends, and then they have 30 days to see how many refunds they're going to have to give. And then they, so they kind of keep it earmarked.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that 30 days is up, so 120 days after you launch the 3-month challenge, then that money is per the agreement that they're not going to get it back. So just in terms of how they operate with it, right?
Yeah.
So, but dude, the first thing I thought is that there's so many products out there who give you their they're like, if you're not fully satisfied, ask for your refund and we'll full refund, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Like there's a mattress company that, on a show that I listened to, a podcast, and they're always advertising it. And they're like, if you're not fully satisfied with this mattress, you can return it and no questions asked.
It's
and I'm
on
like,
it's on the box of my Cheerios.
yeah, but
it's everywhere.
Is it on Cheerios?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
So, but dude, how many people are gonna return a mattress? Like a mattress? I just look at that and I think in the world we live in, it was so much surplus. How many people like return the razor that they don't think worked the best, or how many people do that? Like, what is the percentage? And there's got to be metrics out there on that kind of stuff. Like, how many of the money back guarantees are like, did anybody ever go out of business because of the money back guarantee thing? I don't think. It's just like, it's such a common thing that I think that you depend most, and I'm not talking church-wise here, I'm just talking like as a business. I think most of the time when you do the money back guarantee thing, you're the convenience of it for people is like, is it worth it? And then with a church, you're there, you do the 3-month challenge, and they're doing some major mission thing, and they're giving money to little, starving kids and orphans, and they're doing stuff, and then you're like, no, I want my $3,000 back. It's like, okay, Satan, like how do you do that? Like, how do you ask for your money back?
And then how's the relationship the 2 Sundays after when they come back in the building?
Yeah.
And you're like, I just gave you back your $3,000.
So they have, what I'm saying, and this is, Tyler's on sabbatical, so I'll be a little cynical here in Tyler's place, but they've got to, and I guess I was thinking that's the way Tyler would think about it. Like they got to be going, like, nobody's going to ask for their money back, dude. Like nobody's going to like want to have that thing, because the type of person that's going to take this step, kind of a step of faith, if you will, like the type of person who's going to go, all right, I'll try this out, right? And they're going to be looking for. And they're not guaranteeing that the blessings are going to be material, that like, oh, suddenly it's going to be this or it's going to be that. Dude, one of the blessings of tithing, and I've seen this in counseling people on this over the years with money stuff, one of the blessings of tithing is that you actually keep track of your money a little better. Yeah, and it's like the Dave Ramsey factor where it's like, oh, I made a budget and I throw away a crap ton of money on stupid stuff. And so now I'm actually tracking it, and that's a blessing because now I have more surplus because I'm not, like giving 10% causes you to tighten the belt and to like it's a big enough percentage that it causes you to know where your money's going.
You focus on priorities. You focus on 100%. The wants versus the needs. Yeah,
and it's a different it's a different number depending on how much money you make, but at the same time, 10% is always enough that it's like you're going to have to see where your money is going.
You're going to have to make a choice.
Exactly. Yeah. So in that sense...
so the people who are going to do this are either those who are willing to step out in faith, or they're beginning with cynicism. They're beginning as the cynic. It's like, okay, well, we'll just see if this actually works the way. I'm going to test this God thing. Okay, I'm going to sign up for it. So you've already begun the journey with an attitude of cynicism. So going into like the theology of giving, the theology of finances, I have a really hard time with the church saying, start your journey with God with cynicism. Start your journey with God with doubt. Start your journey with God with seeing, because it's an act of worship. Yeah. Giving is this, it's a worship. It's not a, oh, dang, I have to give this out of my budget. I have to give this out of my paycheck. I can't believe this. This really sucks. I mean, that's the wrong approach. Yeah. So so if we're trying to foster disciples of Christ, I just don't see how this is in fact helpful in the theology of worship, the ecclesiology, the theology of the church, the theology of money. I mean, so many areas where I think this just puts, I guess the word that comes to mind is like a stain on so many areas. Like, yeah, it's very American culture, and it's not very biblical because in the sense now tithing is biblical in terms of the tithe, the tenth is the starting point for financial stewardship in relationship with God, going all the way back to Genesis, right? And so the tithe, the tenth, like that is a biblical concept. So listener, hear me saying that. That's definitely a biblical concept. But Christianity 101.
Yeah, but I think like, and I think in the New Testament ethic of giving, we would see that the Old Testament law or things from the Old Testament era are more of the starting point, and Jesus raises the bar, right? You commit adultery, and I say, don't even look at a woman with lust, or et cetera, et cetera. And I think, and that's an argument I got from Randy Alcorn, his book, The Treasure Principles, phenomenal short book on this. And And he has a longer book on this subject that I'm spacing on the name. I can look it up. But all that to say, it's a biblical concept. But the way that they're advertising this and this kind of gimmick is not biblical in the sense of when, like you just said, giving, tithing, financial stewardship in a biblical way is an act of worship. And so when we give these things to the Lord, we're giving them to the Lord, right? And it's a hands-off approach. And we're recognizing all that I have belongs to him. And I'm going to reflect that in the priority of how I manage the finances he allows to pass through my hands. Yeah. And so I'm going to give this, it all belongs to the Lord. And so giving that and teaching people that like, hey, you're going to give to get, like, and you're going to get this blessing because of this. It's like, and like you said at the beginning, I thought that was a great way to start. God is faithful, right? And so the faithfulness of God is something we can trust. Yeah. But this is like a testing the faithfulness of God a little bit. It's like I'm going to be quote unquote obedience with strings attached a little bit, and I just think it's like it's a creative thing. That apparently they did it back in 2007, and so here 15, 16 years later, they're like, let's do it again. So it obviously maybe helped.
Something worked.
But even the cynic, like you said, going into it, you know how many cynics they're going to win over in this, and they're going to have the testimonies of those people who are going to say, yes, budgeting, or yes, the Lord bless me, or yes, because you and I have lived those stories, and we've seen those stories countless numbers of times in all of our years in church and all of our years in our own lives in tithing and giving. And so we know that like this is a biblical thing. What really is troublesome to me is the like you said, the ecclesiology this is teaching, the theology this is teaching about money and possessions and those kind of things. And almost I don't know, dude. Theologically, it is a gift to get. It is almost a slot machine approach a little bit, where it's like money back guarantee. God's going to bless you if you give. And I just go, oh, sometimes you give for 3 months and like things get way worse, but then you just trust the Lord because like
you nailed it. See, because it's like the whole prosperity gospel is that if you follow Jesus, everything is going to get better. And it's going to continually get better until the day we actually show up in Jesus. Yeah. And that's just, Jesus says, in this world, you're going to have tribulation. So give, and you'll have 100% money back guarantee if it just really goes sour in your life. That's not what it just says. I've overcome the world. This is what Jesus said. So you're going to have these troubles. I've overcome. Faithfully follow me. Yeah. So I'm leery of that concept of like, you're going to see God's blessing is going to get better and always better and always better and always better. And you're going to get more and you're going to get more and you're going to get more. Yeah. When in fact, you may lose your life. Yeah. And that's okay because you will have gained your soul. Yeah. Now on the backside of this, here's the other piece about this. What about the perspective from the staff? What about the operational side of things? I don't want our staff, our team, I'm thinking particularly of Cynthia, or if we have, or if some churches have, more staff on board, who may be watching those donations come in, those kind of things. They're seeing the names of these people who are signing up for this 100% money back guarantee. And there's a burden that the operations staff carry because they see the gifts of these families and these people. And to have that lingering in the back of their minds that, oh, I might have to give this person their money back. Or when they do give their money back, the spiritual weight that is on those staff. Sure. Oh, man, I want to steer way clear of that. I want all of the team, and again, just to be clear, like who knows about the giving? Yeah. I do, Cynthia does because she's processing it. Sure. That's it, right? It's a very small It's an extremely small group. Yeah. So we're not talking like the staff, staff-wide, hey, everybody, but... Unless they put the names up of all the people that wanted their money back. But they don't say in the article they're going to They don't say they do that, but maybe they would. But I'm just talking about even just the accounting staff of the church, right? Just those people. I don't want Cynthia to carry that burden, to wonder about the spiritual well-being of their soul because they asked for their money back. Sure. I want her to be able to process those with joy, process those with seeing they're moving in faithfulness in their giving. And so it's a prayer thing. It's a joy thing. It's a servant. It's a stewardship. It's these kinds of qualities. But when I'm asking a staff member to track this person in case that we have to give their money back, and then to evaluate whether or not their claim is valid. That's what I don't.
I would figure
man.
I would figure the whole thing of that is just like literally if somebody requested the money back, they
You just give it.
Yeah,
You
they just
give it
write them
away.
a check because
Yeah.
Yeah, but dude,
But what kind of cynicism could that develop inside the heart of your staff members?
Sure.
If,
and,
you know.
and throughout the church a little bit too. So I think one final thing that comes to mind, and they don't say you're going to receive material blessings. Like I don't think they said that in the article.
Mm-hmm.
Like that wasn't like, oh, you're going to get money in the next 3 months somehow differently from another place or whatever. But the blessings thing is so broad that that's where you were coming down to going, how do they evaluate the request back? But this is what comes to mind. Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount: do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasures, there your heart will be also. And then he goes on to say, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. And one of many places Jesus talked about money more than heaven and hell combined. And so one of many places Jesus teaches about money. And that's another one of those things. Like you do the tithing challenge and you give for 3 months. You're not guaranteed blessings in this life. Like you're just not. It's just not a thing. And so it's like that you're laying up treasure in heaven, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's Randy Alcorn's book, The Treasure Principle. I think his thesis of that is, you can't take it with you, but you can send it ahead. Which I think is a great line on Matthew 6:19 and following there that I just read, and so yeah, that's where I think the thing that bugs me is at the end of the article how it talks about. And again, I was kind of hating on Relevant Magazine a little bit in the beginning here, and I'll continue to do that in future weeks. But but I was just saying it's like they actually did a good job of reporting here. What they say at the end, according to recent studies, only a small percentage of church attendees regularly tithe, typically between 10 and 25% of the church's population. The vast majority of some members in average congregation do not tithe on a regular basis. We don't have. We don't know the percentage of people, because you can never know if like somebody's giving is a tithe, even if you know the numbers, you don't know what they make. So there's really no way to quantify that in our local church. And yet at the same time, we definitely do know that that if everyone who were a part of our church tithed, that it would be like. Yeah, the budgets would be crazy.
Yeah.
And I, in terms of the revenue, because it would be so much beyond. And I don't think we're like 10 to 25%. I think we have a pretty generous church overall. But
We do.
but I really just think that ending note is what's problematic for me here, because that speaks to the cynicism that's there in the church in America about giving, and I don't think this helps that.
Yeah.
I don't think this kind of stuff helps. It may help Life Church. It may help them in the obviously, like I said, they did it 16 years ago and whatever else. But I don't think that helps in regard to massive mega church. The different things that people look at and go, okay, I'm not going to trust the church. I'm not going to I'm not going to do those things because that's the way churches are.
And back to the heart and motivation of giving. I mean, I think. God loves a cheerful giver. Yeah. Right? Corinthians? Not necessarily God loves a money back guaranteed giver.
Yeah.
So where are we driving their motive? Where are we driving their heart? Are we even, when we talk about giving in the church, are we even talking about them giving to the church, or we are talking about giving to the Lord as an act of worship for the furtherance of his mission? Right. So even the whole concept of give to the church, we say something here a lot at NGC. I love it. We say serving as the church versus serving at the church.
Yeah.
Change of one letter pivots everything.
Yep.
And so giving as the church versus giving at the church is a whole different concept. So I think there's validity and there is a call, and we can support it biblically, to give to your local church, to support the work of the church of which you're attending and in which you're engaging, and that mobilizes the mission in your local community. It mobilizes the gospel. It mobilizes things like we're just putting into play today for a family in severe need who we're able to come alongside them financially and support them in different ways because we have these processes and these systems, and because people are faithful in giving, and we're able to come alongside families immediately and help them. Yeah. So yes, give to the local church, but Is it giving to the church, or is it giving in a response of worship and joy because of what your Savior has done for you? And I would much rather motivate other non-givers with those testimonies of the joy and the freedom and the peace that comes from knowing that I'm going to structure my finances in a way that I put God at the top of my priority.
Yeah.
I'm going to put giving to the Lord and the mission that He is accomplishing through my local church as the very first priority of my heart and my wallet. And then, so I don't need a money back guarantee.
Yeah.
Because my whole motive has been changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it is sad. I mean, you see the small percentage of regular attendees. I've heard stories before of people who are like, well, I'm not going to give until I know that they're going to do a good job with my dollars.
Sure.
And it's kind of the same story, honestly, as the one who won't give to the homeless person on the street because I think they're going to use it on drugs. It's kind of the same thing. I'm not going to give to this church because I don't know if they're going to do with it what I want, or I'm not going to give to the homeless guy in the corner because I'm not going to do with what I want. But what does that tell you about your value or meaning of your money? You think it's yours. You think you're the one that's responsible for how it is effectively used, instead of giving it and saying, Lord, you're the one who's going to make this grow and make this bear the fruit that you have it to do. I mean,
and I think
I'm hitting on a dozen different topics.
Sure, and I think that lack of trust, that kind of circles back around to what I was saying there before, that lack of trust in the church, like institutionally, right? Yeah. And the lack of trust that the church is sound and can be trusted, you know. I think this kind of stuff could lend more to that, you know, of this mentality that would build cynicism within people, you know, which isn't good. So, yeah, dude, we should circle back around and do another pod on the giving to the homeless guy in the corner. That'd be a good one to discuss. Another one. Yeah. Well, there it is. To Be the Church podcast. Money back guarantees on your tithes. According to Nathan Noorlun, we're not going to be doing that at NGC anytime soon.
Not going to see it.
I was kind of testing that here, and
did I give you the right answer?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
so. All right,
so
there
I'm
it
still
is.
Distinguished?
You, dude.
Oh, okay.
So distinguished right now.
Okay, good.
Right.
Man.
There it is, man. That's a wrap.